All right, everybody. It is American Spartan, Richard Nyberg, and we got Briz. We're back in our episode 2 of the AEC, or anything, everything cornhole. So how was everything since the regional?
Pretty frustrating, if I'm not
I can
gonna
agree.
lie.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that like 14-hour day. Like it's cornhole. You wouldn't think it would take a toll on your body, but it was probably the most exhausting week I've ever had. And then I tried to play cornhole on top of it, and I've never been more frustrated in my life with cornhole.
Right.
Nothing just wanted to work. Nothing wanted to go straight. Some of the boards were playing extra sticky. I just like couldn't even just wrap my head around playing, and I would just get really frustrated and mad. But
No, I
it's
agree,
like
man. It
I don't
was
know what it
tough.
is, but
It
it's
was
just
tough, man. It was 14 hours is a lot. Some people had already said that was um not ran the way it should have went. At least some people were saying at least 2 days, especially if we're gonna run like a singles
mm-hmm.
and a doubles in one day.
They
It's just a
definitely could have
lot of
done
cornhole.
singles on Saturday, doubles on Sunday, or something like that, or put advanced and open together, and then put intermediate and social or intermediate and competitive together. Because I know they've done
Right.
that before, something like that. But it also did hurt us because we played rounders, and normally for ACL events we don't play rounders. So it would have been a
Yeah.
lot quicker if we didn't have to play those rounders either. And I think that's what slowed down a bunch of time too.
A little bit in there. I think my knee was just kind of like it had enough. I didn't bring the knee brace, so
Mm-hmm.
I know we covered over a little bit of that last time, but the reason why we were bringing this up is the fact that we had an okay, no, I wouldn't even say okay. We didn't have a great doubles. And
No.
I don't know if it was just jumping right. Like I think I went like one day of recovery, then I went right into another tournament. I still made king seat, which was cool, but I struggled so bad in some games that I hadn't thrown that way in a long time. And then, as expected, we got second place in that one. We got double dipped. But the guy that threw with me, he hadn't thrown in over 6 months, so that was kind of cool to just get him into that spot. On paper, we shouldn't have been there, just due to
Mm-hmm.
that. But hey, it's cornhole; anything can happen. Sometimes the bags just get really lucky in your favor. But mentally, I was struggling, and then I go into a local tournament on Wednesday, and I was just kind of having a mental breakdown, man. Knowing that I'm better than what I was throwing, but it was in my head so much that it didn't matter. Bags were not
Mm-hmm.
going where they needed to be, and I just was just questioning, am I meant to play this game? I just had weird stuff going through my mind,
I've questioned that
and
so many times. Like, why do I even play
yeah,
this game? Like, it should not be that difficult. It's 2 holes, a big board, and it's 27 feet apart. This is like a carnival game, like one of those games that you think you're gonna win, and then you just never win. That's how I explain to people. I'm like, it's just a carnival game.
right,
It really
yeah.
is.
I've talked to people. I had to get like SPR out of my head, only because we've had conversations in here where Scoreholio is kind of just like for us now. It's just like fun,
Mm-hmm.
um, and not to be like stressed on getting. It's really just like bragging rights, I guess. Like oh yeah, I'm like top in the club or whatever. I think I was worried about that so much too, and just a lot riding on me. And obviously, when you are number one in your club, everybody's gunning for you. If you have a high SPR, everybody's gunning for you. They want to
Mm-hmm.
take it. And so, a little bit of that was like in my head because after regionals, I was like, man, I played so bad. And, I mean, there were some factors in there. Fatigue was a big thing. And then my knee was just swelling up. There's some factors, but I didn't look at that. I looked at it as like, why am I not making bags in the
Because
hole like I always do?
you also dropped like 3 SPR too, and you were getting really frustrated with that.
Dude, I dropped 5 SPR in 2 days. So I was like really messed up thinking about that. Then I talked to a couple other buddies too, and they're just like, you know what, man, it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. Because I mean, at the end of
Mm-mm.
the day, dude, you can have like an 80, a 90. You can still be beaten. It does not matter,
Well,
man.
I've had that so many times. Like, I got up, my highest was like 74.9, and I was like on a 20 game win streak, and I was like, oh, I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I started dropping, changed my throw, started dropping even more. Got down to like a 67, but then like for some reason when I play someone good, not saying that no one's good, but I'm saying like a really good person that's like a 78, 79, for some reason my brain just like locks in and I just match them or I can beat them. So like I
Yeah.
really feel that SPR doesn't really mean anything. Anyone's be able to
No.
be beaten.
It's
Like
it's a
just
mental game, man. I
depends.
mean, I don't even look anymore. I used to just like kind of see Like when I was, when I would register for a tournament, I wanted to see who was like throwing, and then I would like look at
Mm-hmm.
their stats. I mean, that's just gonna mess you up. It really is, because you're like, oh man, this guy's shooting an 8, or this guy's up, this guy's up over a
Mm-hmm.
9. Like, he's a shooter. It's like, okay, they can shoot, but you can shoot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at that, too. And I think that's just something where a lot of people will fall short, is when they're just staring at people's stats.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting really flustered over, oh yeah, I only shoot like a 6 or whatever, but this guy I'm going to be going against shoots an 8 or 9. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's great, but I mean, if if you let that affect you, you're gonna lose. You've already set yourself up to lose. And the big thing was, is I took a couple days after that Wednesday, and I just kind of just went back to throwing bags, over and over again, and just fighting through it. I think want to know who I think it was TB, man. He had said you got to throw through the bags. Like you just got to throw
Mm-hmm.
through it. Throw through the, fight through it by throwing through the bags, like just keep it going. And that's what I did. And then I had a tournament on Saturday, and it was like more of a fun kind of thing. It was like a bunch of clubs rolled up together. There was obviously a winning team, but it was, multiple divisions. As far as they had a singles, a doubles, a co-ed, a girls division, then they had the seniors and the crew cup. You got to play in two of them. Then they had like a switch on the side, which was free, which was still cool because, first place got like some bags, second got hats and shirts. It was, they were still giving stuff away. Um, Overall that day, I think it was just for the fact that I knew it was fun, and not to really stress out about. Dude, I threw over a 10 average
Yeah, you
the
definitely played
entire night.
more relaxed because you have nothing on the line. You just kind of just are going
Yeah.
out there, just enjoying the day, and because they what did they call it? Like the Cornhole Olympics?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you just shined in your two divisions that you could play in to help out the team. And
Yeah.
overall, win or lose, like it's a team effort at the end of the day. So pretty
Oh,
much
100%.
you had it's like not all just set on you, and you're just kind of like I'm gonna go out, throw bags, do my job, and hope we win. Like that's pretty much what
Right.
it came down to, rather than knowing like, oh, I could win a national, but it's all on me, and there's $50,000 on the line, so I can't lose. It's more just like, hey, I'm gonna go throw some bags, and like win or lose, I still could win. So then the pressure got taken off of you.
And seeing that too, just knowing that my club believed in me, and they
Mm-hmm.
put me up against the hardest guy in another club. And we played in the singles. Travis Clark, great player. Um, Man, we played for over an hour. Like, I swear it was insane. Like, our game was so long that people had finished up their stuff and they're just watching us go at it. And we were just watching like every round. Like, there was a point where he hit a crazy airmail. He dragged some back. Like, it was just really weird. Like, you couldn't replay that,
Mm-hmm.
intentionally the way it hit. So he ended up getting a sizable lead on me, and then I brought it right back, and then we were up to, it was like 18-17, him, and of course, man, for throwing as long as we were, I just, like, in my head something was gonna happen. Like, I threw really relaxed, but then my thumb kind of caught the bag, obviously holding the butterfly
Mm-hmm.
grip. My thumb caught the bag a little bit, and I shortboarded. And so as
Mm-hmm.
soon as I shortboard, I was like, okay, if he goes 12s, it's over. Um, because even if I throw 9, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 points. He's short, or he doesn't short, but he goes wide right. I'm like, okay, I just gotta go 9. Now he's gonna throw a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'll eat the point. No, my last bag. So 2 went in. My last bag hung on the right side of the hole and didn't drop, and it was a 10-7 rounds.
Dang.
So he got me, but it was a hell of a game, man. Like, we really had an awesome game. And it was just a lot of fun, but it showed the competitive side to both of us, and that we can compete,
Mm-hmm.
against each other really well. And it just goes to show that, in the short amount of time that I've been playing, I can compete with some of the best out there. So,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of let it go. Let the past be the past, because at the end of the day, we're all gonna run into like a bad week. It may be a bad game, but then you
Mm-hmm.
can have like a whole bad week. It doesn't mean you're a bad player, and that's what I had to, kick
Mm-hmm.
myself in the butt and say, hey, you're better than
I think that's just
what
like
just
the
happened.
biggest mental side of cornhole is like you have one bad game or one bad round. Like how do you mentally prepare yourself to go into the next round, forgetting
Yeah,
about it and playing your game? Because I feel like a lot of players, once you get them flustered, like you pretty much know, like okay, the game's gonna get easier and easier because they're gonna mentally get more mad and more mad, and the bags are gonna go all over the place. And I've noticed that like if someone is like, say like I have my teammate, right? And someone
Yeah.
gets really frustrated. I'm like, dude, just relax. Like, you already got your opponent frustrated so much that as long as you keep sitting and throwing bags just calmly into the hole, it's only going to get worse unless they can mentally switch it around, which is really
Yeah.
hard for a lot of like players that are just starting the game or coming in. Like, if professional level, maybe not so much. I mean, it still kind of happens, but I feel like definitely down in like local tournaments, you can take advantage of that. Because people
Oh
will
yeah.
like throw games because they get so angry and they'll drop to like a 6 PPR instead of like an 8 or 9 when they could be throwing that. So it really
Yeah.
just depends on when you catch them and kind of thing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I mean, I deal with my son. He does it a lot better now where he won't throw a game if he knows he's down.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the point it would drive me crazy. He would throw a game when it's like 3-2. I'm like,
Because he
bro,
has one
like,
bad round and then he
yeah,
gets
he has
just
a bad
angry and it's
round,
just
and I'm
all over
like,
the
it's
place.
3-2, man. Like the score is like almost dead even, and
Mm-hmm.
like one bad bag, and then I've seen him where he's chucked like 3 bags away. I was like, what are
Well,
you
now
doing?
it's 12-2.
Yeah, I'm
So
like, what are
now
you
they're,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Easier said than done. I will say this for anybody out there who is hitting that like wall, that mental wall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you can really just learn to block everything out that just doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
whether your score is going to be lower, you pull the win off, but you happen to throw lower than you wanted to, who cares, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think where we are as players, we're not top tier pros, we're not made broadcast or anything yet,
Mm-hmm.
but we have nothing to lose mentality, everything to
Pretty
gain,
much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and even when you do, when you do get to that point where you are a player that everybody knows, if you can still just live outside of that, oh, I have everything to lose now because I'm playing a guy who's no name. No,
Mm-hmm.
like, because it could be their day. You know what I mean? It could
Mm-hmm.
just be like, they're on the way up too. And I think as players, who are getting more and more established, if they are going to lose, be like, hey, dude, I lost. It is what it is, man. It was a great
Mm-hmm.
game or whatever. Even if I got smoked, be like, dude, you deserved it. If you can get past that like mental wall,
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll be made for this sport or anything really. And
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the things I love about cornhole communities is there's really like nobody out there that's like a like a POS,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody's like super helpful.
You might
um
run into like one or two if they're like really drunk and just like that kind of.
yeah, drunk,
But
you can't do nothing
other
about it,
than
but
that, like I've never had any bad interactions with anyone. Everyone's pretty chill. I mean, so far it's a smaller community. I'm sure
yeah,
if it gets like really large, you're gonna get those type of people somewhat, because every
right,
sport eventually gets them. But for now, since it's so small, everyone kind of knows everyone. And it's just like one big friend group. Like when I first started, like I started going to tournaments, and then I'd be like, oh, I can go 40 minutes away, and I still know 2 or 3 people at that tournament. And then
right,
you do it again, and you meet more people, more people. And so then when you go to all these tournaments, like within an hour or two, most of the time you're gonna know someone that's gonna be at it, and it's like, or
right,
at least you've seen a couple people.
right.
But
Oh,
it's
100%.
definitely like a cool community to be a part of, for
I think
sure.
also too, like we haven't really been out of the state too far, playing. Like
Mm-hmm.
farthest I've been is like Laughlin, which there was a couple guys up there. I don't know them by names at all because I only met them the one time I was up there. But some were just kind of like overlooking you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was one guy in particular. He overlooked me because he wanted to get back at at one of my club mates for putting him in the losers bracket. Well, this was the game they put us in the losers bracket, and we had to have a match to make it back into the championship game. This guy was overlooking us. He was just like, I want him because he took me out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so I'm gonna blow through these guys real quick, and then I'll make it back into the finals and play against him. I was like, in my head, I'm like, yo, dude, like this guy's great that took you out, but you're throwing against the guy that's number one in our club, like
Mm-hmm.
who's worked hard to get to where he is. You haven't played me yet, and I didn't say anything. I just let him do his thing, kind of laughed it off, and he was
I
kind
would
of like not
definitely
taking it
say
serious.
that's definitely like a mental thing. Like I would say I'm guilty of that. Like a while ago, I used to do that where, but like, oh, someone took me out. I'm like, oh, I'll get you in the finals, and then I overlook like some like 58 SPR, and they come around and just beat me, and I'm like, damn. Like
That's a big reason why SPR doesn't matter.
Yeah, you literally can't overlook anyone. You got to take one match at a time and play the game that you're in. You can't be
huge.
looking like so far ahead that you forget about the 2 or 3 matches that you need to play, and then people are going to come out of nowhere and they're going to beat you.
Well, long story short, that guy got beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, long story short, that guy got beat pretty fast. So, and he took third. So, and it's the same thing. Me and my brother, we played a doubles together a while back. It was the first time we ever played, and we had these guys in our first game, and this guy next to me just throwing, and I mean, I don't know, maybe he's thrown before. He was just trying to throw all like airmails, and when we're warming up, he's just like not even hitting the board. He's just throwing everything all over the place. Well, he was like, when we started in the game, he's hitting airmail after airmail after airmail. Like he'd hit like 3 straight, and I'm like, dude, this guy's like hitting a 9 on me, and he would get excited. So you knew like he wasn't like, it's not like something he does all the time.
Yeah.
Even when the tournament finished, like they didn't even make the uppers. They were down in the B bracket, and they didn't even win it. So it's like he had an incredible game against me. You know, hats off to the guy for hitting some insane airmails over and over again. But he was watching like 9s with me, and we ended up losing that game. My brother had a hard time. He was falling apart on his end because the guy he was throwing against was actually pretty decent. But this guy next to me just had a killer airmail game. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing. At any given time, we can lose. I mean, if their bag is just true to the hole in that game, it may not be consistent the whole day, but I mean,
I think that's another thing that gets to me is like people that don't have a flat bag that beat me. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, that realistically should not work. But somehow they mastered the perfect kick that they get every single time that goes in the hole. And I'm like, I mean, if that's the way you're going to throw it, that's the way you're going to throw it. But like, it's like if they throw it like a sideways bag and it hits a certain spot and it kicks to the right, like maybe 3 inches, they just know that every time. And I'm just like, that really shouldn't work, but it somehow does. And I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like it really.
They do it long enough, and then you know, eventually it's the same thing as like your consistent flat bag, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes it has its advantages, dude, because it can kick off over a bag, you know? Just naturally. They don't even have to like learn how to roll a bag, you know? They don't have to do that. They can just automatically cut bags. Oh yeah, dude. I you know, honestly, man, the stereotype of having to have a perfect bag is so irrelevant in this sport because I mean, you look at a lot of pros and not everybody has that textbook pro style throw. Everybody's got their own, you know? And I think that's what's cool about this game is that you can be an amazing player and look like nobody else, you know, throwing that way. So, I mean, you look at the ex horseshoe players that come in and play. I mean, you can tell they're a horseshoe player, you know, by the way that they stand and like, you know, it's, I mean, you know, and if it works, man, you know?
Yeah. No, speaking of like having your own type of throw, I've obviously made a lot of changes to my throw because I thought like, so for me, I don't know. I'm coming to the realization it's my boards because you say the ACL broadcast boards are pretty slow compared to everywhere else. I used to throw Vikings on these things and like get them to slide. So basically anywhere else I went, I could not throw anything else but like a 4-speed carpet. Like that's what I had to throw. And so I was trying to figure out like how I could throw fast because we obviously went to Spencer's and those boards were playing lightning fast out in the sun. Couldn't keep a bag on. I had to go throw them in the dirt to slow them down, whatever. But like I'm still going hole for hole with people and that's about it. So I pretty much went around and like filmed a bunch of pros and the video should be out soon. I'm going to break down all their throws and I kind of try to like reform my throw like a pro. But for the past about month and a half, I went right foot forward with a 4-finger grip and I switched everything basically completely. And I started to get like decent at it, but there was still like, I feel like I was just not balanced well, if that makes sense. Like I could go down the middle and then there would be the one bag that I dip my shoulder too far or like I tilt my whole body or it doesn't come off my fingers right. And it just like didn't make sense. Like I was still winning games, but it just like, I feel like it wasn't me, if that makes sense.
I know it does.
So like now I'm trying to kind of revert back to my old stuff. Like I'm back to left foot forward and I just am only switching one thing rather than 2. And it's honestly going a lot better. So I think like Jordan Power said, I watched a video and he was like, if you're going to change something, change one thing at a time. Don't try to reform your whole throw at once because it's going to go downhill and it's going to be a disaster. So if you could go from throwing like, maybe you change your grip and then that's it. Maybe you change your leg. That's it. Like only change one thing at a time, get good at it and then change again. So you're not really like going down the hill very far. Like you're still just,
Right.
you're not going down like to like a 6 rather than just staying like a maybe 8.5 you throw it and then you go down to like an 8
Right. Right.
instead of taking a big
Um,
hit.
it is the term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if there was things that you felt like you could do better, then you make those minor adjustments. But yeah, like going out of your element completely and trying to
Mm-hmm.
just start from scratch, you got to think about how long you've been throwing that certain way. And
Mm-hmm.
then now it's literally like going from left hand to right hand for me. You know what I mean? Like if I was gonna throw, I was saying, it's gonna take me a long time just to
Mm-hmm.
be able to get on that level.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there's some things like for me when I first got into it, I would hold the bag like Matt Guy, basically. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just let that thing flop over the hand and I let it go. Came in
Mm-hmm.
wobbly. For me, I did want to have a more textbook flat bag because I want to do I wanted to do the roll shots and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to look cleaner. So for me being in, as early as I was, I made a change to a butterfly grip and, adjusted my stance and everything. And honestly, I got kind of lucky. Like a lot of them will tell you, hey, don't, like if you've been doing it for a long time, don't mix it up because now you're really starting over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you have it and you're consistent, you're down the middle, you're able to do everything you want to do, just do it that way. Don't worry about how somebody else is throwing the bag,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I mean, I've given a couple lessons like on basically how to throw a flat bag, and like I'll go
Mm-hmm.
to the person's house and work with them or whatever, and I don't really change their grip. I'll show them what I do, and then I'll let them try it. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, what I'll do is I'll take their grip and I'll mimic exactly how they stand and grip, and I'll throw a flat bag. And I'm like, so pretty much you don't need to switch anything. It's your release because like I
Oh,
just held
dude,
it exactly
everything.
how you like had it, and it works. So like, there's no point to try to switch it and mimic everything that I do or whatever or another player does, like because
Yeah.
it's able to be done. And I think
Well, you
that's
know
what a
what?
lot of people don't realize is like really just the release point is mainly the easiest way to get a flat bag is how you're releasing your hand. If it's straight and flat or if it's still tilted.
What's weird is like, I mean, unless I had like a slow-mo video of like my release, just to see like how my hand is. I have a flat. I mean, you see it.
Mm-hmm.
My bag is flat, but it does not like I don't have that typical where the hand comes out like
Oh,
this,
I don't either.
to let it go.
My
And
hands like this when I finish. But I
yeah,
film people. I'll sit there and film them, and they're like, "Well, my hands held up completely flat," and I'm like, "Yeah, but how are you releasing it?" And they're releasing it lower, and their hand goes like this, and then once they have the bag gone, then it goes up.
yeah, because they're like, oh yeah, but see my hands here. It's really like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. Like the art behind your bag is at the end of the day, you have to master it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be shown different things. Like it's the same thing with me in a roll shot.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was trying to get insight from everybody, man, just everybody who knew how to roll, and everybody was giving me different tips, and I'm like, see what I mean? So like this, you can
Mm-hmm.
take kind of like something that they're doing maybe because you didn't try it and you're like, oh yeah, let me try that out, and it doesn't work or whatever, but then somebody else's thing like kind of led you a little bit more to it. But at the end of the day, man, you have to sit there and you got to grind it and put in that time and really get that,
Mm-hmm.
that muscle memory down of how you make it work. So mine literally like, my normal throw, and then
Mm-hmm.
my roll shot comes. Everybody knows a roll shot's coming in because of the way I throw it.
Yeah,
Like
you
the
like
arm, my
you
arm
motion
release.
it outward instead of like a
Yeah.
pendulum.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like when I bring it out and I know because I'm like, okay, I'm getting that extra flick off the wrist,
Mm-hmm.
and I like when I let it go, like I really make it pop now. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tried it to like hold it normal, and it's weird, dude. It feels so foreign. So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, if my roll shot comes in this way, I'm not changing it, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not because the roll shot was so hard just to get mastered. So and it's not
Yeah.
even mastered, like I feel like my cut is more mastered than the roll.
Mm-hmm.
So, but do what you can do and what works for you, and then
Mm-hmm.
when you feel comfortable, it's like right now I'm telling my daughter, she's got a pretty nice consistent bag down the middle, kind of comes in a little wobbly, but she's getting a lot more flatter than she used to be. And I said, once you get that point of being able to master just, the muscle memory of letting that bag go right down the middle, then that's when you can start tweaking around your wrists a little bit more to adjust your releases and things like that, just to try to get your bag a little bit more flatter.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta master the basic stuff before you can move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Like, if people ask me how to throw a roll shot, I'm just like, get your pinky higher than your thumb. But that's all I pretty much tell them. Like, that's pretty much the most fundamental like way to sum it up. Because you're getting your hand over rotated. That's all you're doing. Now, getting it to go straight and how you hold it, that's on you, how you want to figure that out. But I'm like, once you get that feeling, even with a flat bag, once you feel that feeling, you'll know. But I can't explain the feeling. You just have to find it for yourself, and you'll feel it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
It's just finding that like perfect spot for you and what your technique is, I guess, that works well for how you release.
For me, with that releasing the roll shot, like I'm twisting my wrist. Like it's almost like I like pop the wrist, like outward.
A lot of people say like turn the doorknob.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
But like kind of quick, because I give it like a snap almost. Because if I throw a regular shot, it just comes like it's just kind of like coming out of the hand, like just real smooth. But when I go for a roll, like I'm like wrist snapping, like it's weird.
I mean,
it really is. But if it works, man. You know what I mean? Like,
speaking of wrists, no Wooten hurt his wrist and he's out for a month.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
First Hunter Thorn, then him.
First Hunter Thorn.
Alex Rawls is out. Well, not out, but I don't know if he's still throwing on a scooter or not. I mean, I see some videos of him throwing on a scooter. Like, what is happening with everyone getting injured all of a sudden?
I talked to Hunter today. He said, yeah, he's working his way back. He's gonna play. Oh, he's gonna be at the Open this weekend.
Is he playing or just watching?
He says he'll be at the Open this weekend. I don't know if he's playing.
Gotcha.
Well, he says he can still play. So he said, but it's just hard to walk, obviously, because he's all booted up. But yeah. So we wish him the best and speedy recovery. He is like standing on it and stuff. Walking obviously is going to be tough. It was broken, but if he can play on it, man, hey, do your thing, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, speedy recovery to Noah too. Yeah, it just sucks, man. And even anybody out there who's not like a name in the ACL world, if you're going through any ailments or anything, myself right now, man, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna have to like ice my shoulder. Just it's been throbbing, man. I don't know, like lifting stuff, like I feel just discomfort. So
I know I had like a shoulder issue at one point, and like I like looked up like YouTube videos on how to fix it, like more inside and more stretching with the shoulder, and then like it pretty much went back to normal. But it used to throb like after like 30 minutes of throwing, and it just like it never felt right. And then I like did these certain stretches that's like from like whatever they're called, the chiropractors, like people.
Yeah.
And like I did it for like 2 weeks, and it pretty much went back to normal. It doesn't throb or anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if I pulled something out or what. I mean, for sure, strain, and then playing for as many hours as we do, and then even just the practicing all the time. But yeah, dude, I don't stretch, and that's probably one of the biggest things. And you know what, man? It doesn't matter. It's a 1 pound bag. Like it does not matter, man. Whatever you're doing out there, we got to stretch. It doesn't matter. Someone can laugh and mock you, and it's like, oh, I mean, you go and take a bag.
I mean, it's like
you do the same thing for 6 to 10 hours. You're gonna feel something. So that's on
I'm
me.
sure even if you just swung your arm for 6 to 8 hours, you're gonna feel something.
Right.
Like it's just continued motion for that long. It's like,
yeah.
Same thing with walking. Walking's not hard, but if you were to do it for 6 to 8 hours, you're gonna feel it.
I don't think it's like rotator cuff. I mean, it's like around here, but I don't know if that's like rotator cuff or not. Obviously, I'm not a specialist, but I mean, obviously we're rotating our arm and stuff, but yeah, no, it started feeling weird. Like it was hurting today, and I was like, that sucks. So I'll be being light on it, just icing it up or whatever, heating pads.
It'll be good for the Derby that's coming up.
Yeah. Derby time, man. That's going to be fun. A lot of good players should be showing up. Last Derby was really good. I was super green in the sport when that Derby came out.
You played in the you didn't even play the Bring Your Own Partner, did you?
I played the Switch, man. Yeah, I played the Switch. I did good though. I actually went 4-0 in the rounders. When I got my partner, he was a cool dude. I don't remember his name. I've only met him. I only met him that time there. He kind of seemed like he didn't really want to. He wasn't really focused in. I
mean, a lot of people that play the Switch, I feel like, are just there to drink and have fun.
Oh,
like
dude,
the people that go to the Bring Your Own Partner are the more serious players for sure. But I mean, at the Derby this year, or this, I guess, what would you say, this year? This one? I mean, I guess it's multiple times a year, but the coming up one's going to be actually indoors too. So that, I mean, might play a factor. Like, people are going to play different and stuff because everything was outdoors in the middle of the racetrack. So
Not only
sun
that,
mattered.
Man, we hit some wind.
Like, wind was coming in. It was hot. Bags would play different. Like, it was, there's not going to be so many elements factoring. It's going to be basically who's the best cornhole player at that point.
Yeah. That's my advice to anybody, including us, because we're partnered for that. Play, play with, with nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Don't stress on who you're going to throw against, because I'll tell you what, you're going to set yourself up for that failure. Like we talked about earlier, just play and have fun, man. Whatever happens, happens, and just enjoy your time there. Definitely.
Yeah. So the next ACL Open in Iowa, you got any predictions for it this coming weekend? Who's going to win? Who's going to take it?
Who we got headlining it? Like, who's is Rawls are going to be there again?
I don't know. I don't know who's going to be there, but I'm assuming the Rawls are going to be there. The Gore brothers, Devin Harbaugh, Windsor. It's probably going to be a lot of people there.
Honestly, man, for me, I don't know. I'll let them decide in the comments on that, because I mean, everybody's really good right now.
I feel like it could go anyway, to be honest.
Right now, definitely, man. I mean, that little Jacob Gore dude probably go in there and
I know. Last I looked, he was leading points in the ACL standings.
There you go.
So
I don't know. I gotta talk to.
I would like to see a no name come up and just win it. That'd be crazy. Like that no one's really even like seeing or anything.
It's possible. I mean, it's anybody's game. I mean, I'm officially sponsored with Brotherhood. I'm gonna find out if we got anybody heading out to that one. So, we got some really good players in there. You know.
Yep.
Some top tier players out of like up north. So, yeah. So best of luck to everybody in the Open this weekend. We also, like I said, we got the Derby coming up for us. So hopefully we throw really well, make an impression. Also, we're throwing in Bags Mania Vegas coming up here in a couple weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun too. And some great players coming out to that one. So I'm already in the singles open for that event, and then potentially might have a spot opening up for the doubles, so I can play 2 days. So
I'll be playing the singles and doubles and open.
Yeah, man. Best
wish
of luck
us
to you
luck.
on that. Yeah.
But speaking of Brotherhood, I just bought some Wingman and some Bedlams because
there you go.
I wanted the new blend that's coming with the Wingmans.
You were using my code, right?
Yep. I saved $18 using your code.
Right.
10%
for anybody
off.
out there right now, Brotherhood Cornhole, like I said, I'm officially sponsored by this company. You guys are able to use code. We'll have it linked there, or we'll have it posted up in the video, but Nyberg10, all one word. That gets you 10% off in there. And there's a lot of really good bags out right now. They're officially pro stamped too. So Brotherhood is an amazing company with, like I said, a lot of great shooters coming out of that team, like myself. But yeah, no, get yourself some new gear for the 2024 season now and also coming up.
And you were also saying that Brotherhood just signed with Dirty Bags or something, or I don't know how that
they
works
partnered
exactly,
with them.
but partnered. Now you can get custom
like bags. Yes, you can get custom Wingmans, Bedlams, Guardians, Steel Rains.
And it's not even a bad price. It's $115 for custom bags. That's not bad at all.
Yep, $115 for a custom bag. That's pretty cool, man. So
now, will your code work on the Dirty Bags website too, or no?
I don't know. I'm gonna say no, it doesn't, just because that is through like Dirty Bags as well. But anything on the Brotherhood site, use my code. That will get you guys that discount. So,
all right.
But yeah, I think we're gonna cut it short here today. I got to take my daughter to dance here in a couple minutes. She's actually gonna be a few minutes late. So, if there's anything else that we need to add to, make sure you guys ask us questions in the comments. We'd love to get back to you guys. We like to answer your guys' questions, as well as make sure that you guys do like, share, subscribe if you have not already.
I mean, or you could leave a topic that you want us to talk about on the next podcast. If you want to hear us maybe elaborate on something, or something that you guys are curious about, maybe something that you're struggling with that we went through or something, we can kind of help out or whatever.
Yep. And also too, Stay tuned. We've got future guests coming in on the show as well. So that's going to be fun. We'll be contacting a few people that want to get on the show, as well as our little connections that we got with some other players and stuff out there. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, this will be a wrap on episode 2. I think it was a lot of informative stuff. Remember, don't beat yourself up over cornhole. Let it go. You're going to have a bad game. We're all going to have bad games. The pros have bad games. They're not perfect. So none of us are. We just got to fight through it. Just throw the bags and keep going.
Yep. I agree.
All right. That's going to do it, everybody. Thank you guys for listening in, and stay tuned for the one next week.
We'll see you in episode 3.